Thank you, Darren. Welcome to the Amex Stadium, everyone. Your Premier League weekend starts here on the South Coast. Chilly night for this rather peculiar, particular footballing rivalry between Brighton and Crystal Palace, which the rivalry dates sort of all the way back to the kind of mid to late 70s when Alan Mullery and Terry Venables were in charge of these two teams. The fixtures recently have been dramatic, they've been feisty. The one thing I would say about tonight's action, do not leave until the final whistle is blown, because the last three games between these two teams have seen crucial late goals. The most recent of those scored by Neil Maupay at Selhurst Park back in September. Crystal Palace were ahead, they dominated the game, they didn't take their chances, and Neil Maupay punished them. Last season here at the Amex Stadium, Matt Abson, I don't know if you remember this game, it was almost the nadir of Brighton season, because they were getting a lot of criticism at the time for all the lovely football they played, but they couldn't stick the ball in the back of the net. They had 75% possession. I think you might have done the game.
It's Benteke.
25 shots, scored one goal. Palace had 3 shots, scored 2. Benteke in the last minute.
Unbelievable goal as well, wasn't it? Like a cross, and unbelievable control volley, wasn't it?
Here?
Yeah, I was here.
Yeah,
I was here. I remember it well.
Yeah,
and it was a real smash and grab, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Very late equaliser.
You've played in this game as well, haven't you? I mean, I remember your time at Brighton. Actually, it's probably not the greatest memory, because Championship playoff semi-final, you actually came up against Crystal Palace, and Zaha scored twice here, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. I mean, we played them in the year before here and beat them in a really good game. I remember it well. And then we had them in the playoff, home and away. Should have won the away leg at Selhurst, came back here, and they just had too much for us and knocked us out.
What's it like, Matt? What is it like? Because, like I say, it's a slightly quirky one, yes, but the edge and the rivalry and the antipathy actually between the fans is there. It's definitely there.
It is. And are we labelling it a rivalry? It's not
I call it a rivalry.
Yeah, I would say that's about right.
Yeah,
and there is a rivalry here, and the supporters get right up for it. Yeah. They really do, and it's a feistiness to the game, and it does have that derby feel to it. So yeah, it's a big game for both clubs.
Right, just about ready to go. Where it stands for these two going into this one tonight, Brighton have won 2 of their last 3 Premier League games, and they found their shooting boots in those 3 games. 6 goals in the last 3. They start tonight in the top half of the Premier League table on 27 points. Crystal Palace start 4 points behind them. Both come into the game on the back of wins in the FA Cup. Brighton taken to extra time away at West Brom. That's earned them a 4th round tie against Tottenham. And Crystal Palace came through a tough one, went behind early on against Millwall and won that game by 2 goals to 1. 6 changes for Brighton from their cup tie. Just the 1 change for Palace. That's nice and easy. Patrick Vieira went strong in that game. Odson Edouard comes into the side. Jean-Philippe Mateta drops out. Jack Butland is back in goal in a Premier League game. Vicente Guaita is on the bench tonight. He has been in goal for the previous 2 Premier League games, but it's Butland who gets the nod tonight. Robert Sanchez back in the Brighton goal. Cucurella, Webster, Lallana, McAllister and Trossard return to a more familiar looking Brighton lineup for Premier League games. Rob Jones, all in black, the referee, blows the whistle, the music dies, the players take the knee to continue a long-standing message: there is no room for discrimination. That is warmly applauded inside the ground. Going to be some atmosphere in here tonight. When Crystal Palace came out, as soon as they'd arrived to inspect the pitch and have a look at their surroundings, they were heartily booed and jeered onto the field. The first tackle on Conor Gallagher gets a massive roar from the Brighton fans. We're looking forward to this one. We are underway, and Crystal Palace are looking like a bunch of bananas, bright yellow kits this evening, red numbers on their backs, yellow shorts and yellow socks, and Brighton in the familiar home kit, blue and white striped shirts, blue panels on the back, white numbers on those, blue shorts and white socks, and as you can hear, a really good atmosphere inside the stadium. Michael Elise, 20-year-old, looking forward to watching him tonight, is tackled, and Crystal Palace, Madison, just sort of working their way down the right-hand touchline. They want to throw.
Yeah, I'm with you on Elise. Really looking forward to seeing him. I saw him come on New Year's Day against West Ham and had a massive impact in that game. His delivery, it's nice playing on that right-hand side with that left foot. I have to say, he's a very intelligent player, comes inside really well. It's a good addition to the squad.
Exciting looking Crystal Palace team. It's one of the first things Matt actually said to me when he arrived this evening. Ebereich Eze having a first Premier League start of the season. Palace fans obviously loving Conor Gallagher's work at the club. They've got the ball. Brighton are yet to touch it really. Tyrick Mitchell plays a low pass to Eze, who started wide on the left-hand side. Pascal Gross closes down the ball forward from Mitchell. It comes off him and it goes out for a throw into Crystal Palace.
I think you can say the same about both teams as well, Ali, in terms of exciting lineups. I think that's something that's been levelled at Brighton a little bit. They got stuck in a bit of a rut, didn't they, before Christmas, had a run of bad results. It was like bundles of possession but no real cutting edge, and they've gone to this back four a bit more than the back three, and it allows Graham Potter to have, you know, Lallana's the holding player, then you've got Trossard, Mopé, McAllister, Moda, pretty attacking players, it has to be said. So both teams really evenly matched in terms of the balance.
Brighton seeing a little bit of the ball. Graham Potter comes wandering out to the sidelines for the first time this evening. Patrick Vieira is already there. Two tall men watching on as the ball goes bouncing across the halfway line, and Lallana just too quick for Odsonne Edouard there. Nips in to win it. Dan Burn, left-sided centre-back for Brighton tonight, talking tall men. He's absolutely massive. Robert Sanchez clears with his right foot. Nice first touch from Tyrick Mitchell, then slices his pass, and it goes out for a throw-in to Brighton.
You like talking tall men? Why is that?
I get a lot of stick, Matt, as you know, from one Five Live commentator in particular about being slightly vertically challenged, but I'll say the same about the little fellas. Neil Mopé could be the key man tonight.
Yeah, give the little fellas a bit of credit.
Absolutely.
As well.
Thank you, Matt. Ball is headed down the touchline towards Eze from Schlupp. Now here is Mopé, darts in, tries to win a tackle wide on the right for Brighton. Ball ran away from him and out for a throw. Little smell of smoke and fireworks in the air.
Big smell, actually.
Yeah.
Is that from the Crystal Palace end?
It is. A couple of flares have gone off. Lallana trying to slide one into the Crystal Palace penalty area. Bright start to the game. Here's Odsonne Edouard, the Frenchman, back to Conor Gallagher. Peroxide hair bouncing on the back of his neck. Palace fire a ball down the right-hand touchline towards Elise, who controlled that with the most incredibly athletic first touch, but it had actually gone out for a throw before it reached him.
He did well to get there. It was a loose pass from Conor Gallagher, just overhit the ball out wide to, who was it there? It was Ward, I think, just advancing from the right back position, just got his pass slightly wrong, and it's been quite a frantic, as you'd imagine, start to the game. Any kind of rivalry or derby game is normally quite loud and a fast pace, and this one certainly hasn't disappointed in that front.
Crystal Palace have had the better of the rivalry in the last couple of seasons, unbeaten in the last 5 against Brighton, 2 wins here at the Amex, 3 draws at Selhurst Park. I'll give you the full team lineups in a second. Dan Burn dawdled for a second, plays it back to Adam Webster. Webster drives it forward with his right foot, headed away by Gahey. Will Hughes slides in, can't win that for Palace. Hurried clearance from Joachim Andersen at the back, and there's a foul there on Adam Lallana. Wins the free kick for Brighton, 10 yards inside the Crystal Palace half. So Brighton we've got as a 4-3-3. Robert Sanchez in goal, Veltman and Cucurella the full-backs, Webster and Burn the 2 centre-backs, Pascal Gross and Jakub Moda either side of Adam Lallana, Alexis McAllister, the Argentine, in support of Leandro Trossard and Neil Mopé. Veltman, first time ball, looking for the run here of McAllister. Slip at the back by Gahey. The ball might fall here in the penalty area. Trossard hits it with his left foot, blocks at close range, and Webster heads it sideways to Dan Burn.
And McAllister's really started with a bit between his teeth. A couple of times he's been bursting through in that central area. He is number 10 and he's playing that kind of number 10 role, just a little bit off the front, but his anticipation a couple of times has been really good.
He's not the tallest, short and stocky I'd describe him as.
No.
But he's a little powerhouse, and he scored a couple of goals in the 3-2 win at Everton recently, coming from those sort of positions that Matt Upson's just been describing to you. Challenge on Joel Veltman from Jeffrey Schlupp. Ball out for a throw-in to Brighton. Crystal Palace then, Jack Butland in goal. Back 4 of Joel Ward, Joachim Andersen, Mark Gahey and Tyrick Mitchell. Their midfield 3, Will Hughes, the summer signing from Watford, Conor Gallagher on loan from Chelsea, and Jeffrey Schlupp, Premier League winner with Leicester City back in 2016, and this very exciting mobile front 3. Michael Elise started on the right-hand side. Ebereich Eze's missed a lot of football so far this season. He's come back from an Achilles injury. He's wide on the left. And Odsonne Edouard, the summer signing from Celtic, through the middle. Benteke, the scorer of that late winner here last season, one of the Crystal Palace substitutes. 6 minutes played in the first half. Little flicked header into the Palace box. Ball runs out to Trossard. Dummies across with his right foot. Rolls it down the line towards Pascal Gross. Tackled by Schlupp. I think that's going to be a corner. Jeffrey Schlupp can't believe it, but the assistant referee points his flag at the quadrant.
I mean, Jeffrey Schlupp looked convinced, didn't he, the way he appealed to the linesman, but it looked very clear from where I'm seeing that the last touch was off Schlupp. It was a tackle. I think Gross just tried to nutmeg him, pop it through on the edge of that 18-yard box, and Schlupp in with the tackle to give the corner away.
Mark Cucurella, long curly brown hair, tied back with the band, holds his right arm in the air. Brighton attacking this goal away to our right-hand side. Crystal Palace fans behind it. Low ball from Cucurella into the box. Cleared. Lallana drives it with his left foot. Blocked by Edouard. Didn't know too much about it. Lallana just sweeps his pass back towards the Dutchman Veltman, who in turn comes all the way back to goalkeeper Robert Sanchez. 7 minutes played. BBC Radio 5 Live and BBC Sounds at the Amex Stadium. And hopefully we've got a good one on our hands tonight. It started well. Brighton 0, Palace 0. Ball rolled to Adam Webster. He just lets that run beneath his foot. Edouard jogs towards him. Webster clips it forward. Mitchell heads it away. Might fall to Veltman. Half volleyed first time pass intercepted by Will Hughes. Mitchell's there again. Volleys it high in the air. Webster gets in front of Edouard. Heads it forwards. The ball drops inside the Palace half. There's a foul there on Mark Gahey. Free kick Crystal Palace.
The one thing that Webster and Dan Burn are going to do is going to compete well. Any ball in the air, Edouard's really got his work cut out. Tried to back into Webster, then he just manoeuvred round in good footwork from the centre back and stepped in front and won the header. It's an important role for Brighton at the moment with Lewis Dunkau. I think he's been out since the 1st of December. So, you know, big shoes to fill, and I think Webster has done well since he's come back from injury himself.
He's out with a knee injury, Lewis Dunkau, and it's one of those where we're not being given a sort of specific date. Yeah, he might be back this week, which makes you think he might not be back for a little while. I'm not saying that with any knowledge.
No.
But, you know, could be one of those. But Brighton have actually coped okay without. Mopé chasing. Gahey under pressure. Holds Mopé off. Low pass across to Will Hughes. Lovely languid style Will Hughes. Outside of his left foot plays to Ward. Elise with the first time ball. Conor Gallagher's fouled inside the Brighton half. And that is a free kick to Crystal Palace. Pleased you made it here tonight, Matt, because I was listening to you and John Murray on Wednesday night.
Yeah.
League Cup semi-final. Some confusion as whether you were going to turn up here
a little bit,
or the North London derby on Sunday.
Well, with that in doubt now, looks like I've had a right result, haven't I?
Well, possibly. Possibly. That's the news.
Could have been going nowhere.
He could, yeah.
It was up to John.
I heard John Murray on Drive earlier getting his answer on Fact of the Day wrong, saying he might be heading out for Sunday lunch because Arsenal have requested, put in the request of the Premier League to have the game postponed due to a mixture of COVID, injuries and AFCON absences. So as soon as we get news on that, I think the decision will come tomorrow. You'll obviously hear it first here on BBC Radio 5 Live.
The hard thing about that is
by Jack Butland, who made himself huge there and blocks the shot with his right hand.
Massive save from Butland. Loved the way he came out. He stayed really big, didn't go down too early. His chest was out, his arms, he had a great body shape, great position. But what a chance for Trossard on his right foot, clean through. Bit of a tight angle, to be fair, a little bit of an angle on the shot, but you know, he tried to go high and you felt that low in and around, maybe nutmeg in and around his ankles might have been the better option.
First crucial action of the game. Brilliant save by Jack Butland. 10 minutes played at the Amex. Trossard denied. Here is Trossard down by the byline. Tyreek Mitchell trying to get a couple of challenges in. Schlupp comes in to help out his teammate. The ball's gone out for a Brighton throw in an attacking position wide on the right. And that was the story of the game here last season. Lots of lovely football from Brighton. Chances created. Shots on goal. Couldn't stick them away. And Butland denying Trossard early on. Fabulous noise inside this ground at the moment. Veltman, powerful throw into the area, volleyed away by Gallagher. Edouard chests it down, flicks it in field to Will Hughes. His pass hit the back of McAllister, and now it's in midfield. Moda couldn't control it. Palace get it forward to Edouard. Little flick, gives it to Schlupp. Schlupp bounces off McAllister, plays it back to Edouard. Wide on the left for Palace. Cross deflected. Sanchez is there at his near post to collect it for Brighton.
Yeah, it's quite a quick attack. Jeffrey Schlupp, really driving run. Good feet as well to offload to Edouard. And I don't think any of the other Palace players were quite up with play. Brighton have probably been pretty much in their half the last couple of minutes, had a couple of chances themselves, and none of the Palace players could get up to speed with the pace that Schlupp broke forward.
If you are just tuning in for the commentary, by the way, missed the first hour of the show tonight, you can get that on the Football Daily podcast, available via the BBC Sounds app tomorrow. Gus Poyet and Matt Upson in conversation with Darren Fletcher, reacting to the Cristiano Ronaldo interview that has been put out there today, which has been some very interesting stuff. So missed any of that, make sure you get to the BBC Sounds app and get your fix of the Football Daily. Crystal Palace free kick, left back position for them. Gahey bobbles a pass back into his own box. Jack Butland says thank you very much. It's a much firmer pass out to Joel Ward in the right back position. Little 1-2 with Gallagher. Elise back to Ward. Palace building play nicely from inside their own half. Dan Burn in there to intercept, volleys it forward, and Butland catches it on the edge of his box.
So Brighton have gone long a couple of times. I think Webster's hit 2 or 3 kind of straight long passes over the top, over Tariq Mitchell into that corner for runners.
Oh, good ball from Schlupp. Edouard chases Dan Burn there just in time for Brighton stumbling, but manages to get there before the ball crosses the byline and knocks it out for a throw-in rather than a corner. Jeffrey Schlupp, twice running forward there, Matt, has looked to be off balance. A Brighton defender's come in and tried to knock him over, and he's just shrugged them both off.
He's a powerful boy, Jeffrey Schlupp. I was with him at Leicester, and I just remember in training the moment he got going and built up a head of steam, absolute electric pace and real strength with it, and he's enjoying this more advanced role. He's been playing a lot of left back with Roy Hodgson, and he's really enjoying playing in a 3 on the left hand side. I've seen him pop up on the right hand side as well, coming inside onto his left foot. He's done well so far this season.
Couple of goals in the Premier League this season, just gone past 5 years at Crystal Palace. First signed, I think, by Sam Allardyce in that relegation battle 2016-2017, where the likes of Milivojevic and Sacco also joined the club. Brighton want Crystal Palace to hurry up with a throw, and then Palace get themselves in a mess, and there's an offside from the throw, so it'll be a Brighton free kick. 14 minutes played. Palace just preventing the ball getting back to Brighton for the free kick. All the tricks of the trade.
There's not a lot between these two teams at the moment, is there? No. When you look at, not just in this game, in the opening 20 minutes of this game, I'm talking this season really, and the type of form they're in, the capabilities, they're very similar, aren't they?
Absolutely, yeah, which is what makes it, I think, such a fascinating matchup. Dan Burn plays across to Mark Cucurella. He's been a good signing for Brighton in his first season at the club. Very reliable, speedy presence wide on the left. Adam Webster, high floated diagonal ball all the way out to the left. Trossard's waiting for it. Joel Ward nods it away. Throw in for Brighton. Cucurella's there, takes it, finds Lallana in midfield in the middle of the Crystal Palace half. Gross back to Burn. Burn rolls his pass across to Webster. Webster sees Veltman wide on the touchline on the right hand side. Eze is back to do the defending, makes the tackle. Throw in for Brighton. Veltman wants to take it quickly, doesn't really see an option. Lallana comes jogging towards him, gives him a shout, decides not to go with that, and then he does go to Lallana, who kills it stone dead with a lovely first touch. Good football from Brighton. Back heel into the path of Lallana, into the box. Gallagher just got a foot in to nick it away from him, headed forward by Webster.
It's an important tackle that, wasn't it, Gallagher? Really important, just got a toe on the ball in the box. If Lallana just nudged it or lifted it over him, he was in a great position just to fizz one across the 6-yard line.
Just looking at Crystal Palace sort of lined up at the moment without the ball. Well, it almost went 4-5-1 inside their own half. Webster goes wide here to Gross. That's got to be a handball. Assistant referee spotted it. Free kick for Palace.
I think out of possession, Eze and Elise are really tucking in and dropping deep and just leaving Edouard up by himself. Whether or not that's because Brighton have had the ascendancy in this opening 20 minutes, you'd have to say they've taken the game to Palace, hit quite a lot of long balls, tried to push them back and hit balls over the top of the fullbacks. So whether or not they're just sitting in and tucking inside.
Jakub Moder's taken the gloves off and slung them off to the side of the pitch.
So you've got yours on?
I've got mine on.
Well, baby blue hat as well. Keep the head warm, eh?
You've got yours on, Matt. Not your hat, you've got the gloves on.
It's chilly, but it's not too bad, is it?
Designer brand, I know.
You can sit here with the wind sometimes on this coastal, and it can get a bit tasty, but
very much so.
It's quite a nice evening.
Edouard running away from Lallana. Elise pops up in the inside left channel, plays it to Gallagher, corner of the Brighton penalty area. Brighton 0, Crystal Palace 0. Mitchell with time to swing across into the Brighton box, beats everyone. Cucurella lets it run past him and then goes tearing up the left-hand touchline. Pascal Gross is making a great run here on the right-hand side. Cucurella's seen him, flag stays down, Gross controls this one with his head, lobs a pass back to Jakub Moder, who comes flying up behind him. Moder to Gross, back to Moder again, he's going to get that cross in. Butland thought about coming for it, couldn't get there, no one there for Brighton to attack it. Cucurella flicks the ball back to Dan Burn.
It's that long ball again, isn't it? It's a long diagonal switch from Cucurella to Gross, who'd made a brilliant run in behind Mitchell, who crossed it and was high up the pitch. But Brighton really looking to hit Palace whenever they can with quite a direct approach. Lots of long diagonals, balls over the top, not just punts but really good quality passes.
Yeah, that was a wonderful ball from Cucurella. You wonder whether he's going to spot the run, and he saw it, and here they come again. McAllister and Mopé trying to exchange a 1-2. Gallagher in the way for Palace. Elise, lovely body movement, just glides away from Lallana into the centre circle. Plays his pass to Eze. Eze ducks inside. Veltman tries to stick with him. Eze holds him off and then slows to a jog.
He had to slow because the support, I mean, he'd been under a bit of pressure, and I think like Hughes, Schlott, definitely Gallagher, they're dropping quite deep to defend, so when they break forward they're struggling to get up with play.
Wideman has switched now. Here's Elise on the left. Where's number 7 in his bright yellow shirts for Crystal Palace? Schlupp makes a run on the outside, manages to keep it in, crosses to the near post. Webster's there, blocks it with his right foot. Veltman thumps it downfield. Mopé's beaten in the air by Gahey. Graham Potter hopefully appeals for a free kick. I think he was just out-jumped. Mitchell, but a 1-2 with Eze. Brighton just got to keep an eye on the movements here of Eze, Schlupp, Elise. Elise's crossing. Sanchez comes a long way. Edouard challenges him. Flags up for an offside free kick for Brighton.
Well, that from Elise there has just confirmed even more for me that he has a lovely left foot. He really does. I mean, the quality of his delivery, I've seen it coming from the right. This one he whips from the left-hand side because he switched flanks with Eze. But he just sees Edouard. There's one player he can pick out, and it's absolutely perfect. The cross, Sanchez comes out far, but brilliant execution from Elise.
Right from the start of the game, Matt, and I've seen him in flashes this season, there's such a swagger and a confidence.
He does. It's calm, isn't it?
Yeah.
And you never see him, just there he's got this manner, this calmness about him for a young player as well. You can tell he's got plenty of belief in his ability.
Joined from Reading for 8 million in the summer, young player of the season in the Championship last season, 7 goals and 12 assists, and as Matt has been saying, he's had a real impact off the bench recently for Crystal Palace. Palace, of course, without their African Cup of Nations participants, Kouyaté, Ayew and Zaha not involved here. Moder in space on the right, looking for a cutback for Brighton, and it comes. Joel Ward's there. Clears it for Palace, ball bounces up in the air, Veltman heads it down, Mopé drives it across goal, doesn't get his angles quite right, and it zips behind for a goal kick to Crystal Palace.
Well, Patrick Vieira turns away shaking his head. He's not happy with how many times Brighton's midfield are making these runs in behind. They get in behind Mitchell, which Moder does again there, and he's got so much time to get his head up and get his cross in. It gets cleared, he can't pick anyone out, but then it comes back in again, and Mopé, I understand why he's had a shot. It's bouncing in the box, nobody's come out to him, he's quite tight on the angle, but he has a shot. It's well wide, but certainly not happy, Patrick Vieira, with the way they're defending at the moment in the 18-yard box, or just being able to track those midfield runs.
He didn't make too many friends with the Crystal Palace fans at Selhurst Park back in September. Got the late equaliser. I mean, he's got a few of those this season, Matt. He's such a cool finisher.
The one at West Ham was just an incredible goal, really. 90th minute. He's done one Southampton.
Yeah, I saw that one as well. But having scored the goal, obviously celebrated with the Brighton fans, and then as he was coming off was getting a little bit of stick. Never backwards in coming forwards, Neil Mopé, and was giving the Crystal Palace fans a little bit as he left the field as well. But they'll be worried about him this evening. Here's Cucurella infield to McAllister. We've played 20 minutes in a vibrant first half so far, still 0-0. Lallana, really pacey pass through the middle, beyond Mopé. Anderson lets it go through to Jack Butland, who's made that one excellent save in the one-on-one with Leandro Trossard. Matt, of course, a former Brighton player, having had 6 months on loan under Gus Poyet, and then came back here the following season. And Palace manager Patrick Vieira.
Yes, and a former Crystal Palace player as well.
Of course.
For a very small amount of time, only a month on loan. But yes, Patrick Vieira was a player I played with at Arsenal. And
did you play against as well?
Yes.
You must have done,
yeah, for sure.
More fun to play with?
Unfortunately, definitely more fun to play with.
Some player, Patrick Vieira, arms crossed at the moment. Watch the Cucurella, all busy again for Brighton as he always is. McAllister, low pass back to Adam Webster. Webster encouraged to bring it forward. Side foots his pass to Veltman, takes it on the move, chops inside, left-footed cross, good ball, headed away by Joachim Andersen. Back pass to lay it back to him. Moda has a swing and a miss. Lallana has a swing and shot is blocked. Eze cushions a little pass to Gallagher. Very cool under pressure. Plays it back to Mitchell. Moda closes him down. Lallana heads it to his right and the ball goes out of play for a Crystal Palace throw. 0-0.
I'm impressed with Brighton's start. I really am. I think Graham Potter is too prowling the technical area out front of the bench, and they really are trying to take the game to Crystal Palace. They're trying to force the issue, which I like. Palace are hanging on in there, but the openings that Brighton have had, one really good clear-cut opportunity to score with Butland saving, and another couple of little half moments that could have ended up different. They've been really good in this opening 25 minutes.
Throwing down the line from Mitchell. Edouard's got his arm in Veltman's face. Veltman's going to pick himself up quite quickly. Referee Rob Jones comes and has a word. Just a physical battle, and Edouard's got his arms a little bit too high there. VAR tonight in case he's required. Probably a little bit warmer than us at Stockley Park. Stuart Atwell. Webster's ball forward, blocked by Schlupp. Webster says handball. Goes out for a throw to Brighton. They'll take the throw. Veltman shoves the ball up his shirt to get the moisture off it, and then steals 4 yards and actually goes behind Patrick Vieira as he does it. Didn't go in front of him, I notice. Just snuck behind him. Didn't dare.
Have respect.
Sanchez, Brighton's keeper, in a mixture of black and grey. Socks rolled high over the knee. Plays the ball to Webster. Webster spinning high, forward ball, headed away by Gahey.
It's that ball again, isn't it? I mean, Webster's hit, 5 long passes already in this game. It's a lot. It's definitely different for Brighton, because Brighton got a bit bogged down with possession, didn't they, before Christmas? I was watching them a lot. Lovely passing football, but not much product. They've been very different in this opening part of the game. They've been more direct, and actually they probably had more entries into the Palace 18-yard box.
McAllister wins it off Gallagher. Brighton suddenly sweeping forward. Cucurella pops up in space on the left-hand side. McAllister finds him. One touch. In comes the cross. Moda was waiting. Gahey heads it backwards. Kept in play by Joel Ward, who nods it out towards the right-hand touchline. Elise did well. Shrugged off Cucurella. Ball is cleared. Byrne heads it forward. McAllister leaps in the air. Volleys his pass to Lallana. He just chips a little one back to Dan Byrne. Applause from the Brighton fans. Here's Webster. Across the halfway line to Joel Veltman. Tariq Lamptey amongst the substitutes for Brighton this evening. Pascal Gross wide on the right. Crosses beyond Mopay. And Joel Ward says, didn't really get a shout there, so I'm just going to volley it behind for a corner.
No, he did the right thing. If you're not too sure, if you're in doubt, put it out. And I'm more concerned why Trossard hasn't got across the face of him. You know, there's a big gap between Ward and Anderson, and the ball from Gross was excellent, flighted right into that space. If he just makes that darting run across and be's aggressive with his decision making, gets a clear header in front of goal.
25 minutes played in the first half at the Amex in the company of Matt Upson this evening, former England international. 0-0 between Brighton and Palace. McAllister's ball headed goalwards by Webster, but it wouldn't have counted because he flattened Gahey to get himself in position to get the header away.
Yeah, Gahey goes to ground. He does well because he gets in front of Webster and he just puts the brakes on. Webster comes into the back of him, just shoves him a little bit. He's quite clever, Gahey, in that situation, because he's struggling a little bit and he just backs into Webster and takes the contact.
Yeah, he's not going to win that in the air, is he?
No.
That's a bit of nous there.
Definitely, it's so important. You know, the amount of times as a centre-back that you actually can't win the ball, but you've got to find a different way of not allowing the opposition to win it, and whatever that may be.
26 minutes gone then. Brighton 0, Palace 0. Another long ball, this one from the goalkeeper Robert Sanchez. Lopez made the run in behind, cleared. Pascal Gross. Palace thought he controlled it with his arm. Referee Rob Jones saw it, has allowed play to continue. McAllister Plays it back to Webster. Webster's 10 yards inside the Crystal Palace half. Goes to his right to find Veltman. Veltman down the right-hand touchline towards Pascal Gross. Veltman gives it away. Mitchell, big centre forward, is he?
No.
As we've discussed. Trossard chases with Joachim Andersen.
Not directly into somebody, but they're chipping little balls over the top into space, and Veltman is playing some lovely balls on the right-hand side in behind. And again, Gross, that's the run, or Moda getting behind the Palace and whipping balls across the face of the box.
Boos, cheers and whistles for Michael Ali.
It's a certain foul.
I think the reason he went down like he did was the second one. He almost seemed to bump heads with McAllister, but
Maybe.
I think you're right. Burns' leg got him.
Yeah.
I'm surprised Rob Jones didn't see that.
Yeah, definitely. I can understand why you feel aggrieved that he didn't get a foul, and it was in a key area as well. I mean, that was probably on the D, wasn't it, at the 18-yard box, a real dangerous area for a free kick.
Jack Butland, right in front of the Crystal Palace fans, away to our right. Just bowled the Dane. Pass to the left, headed forward by Mitchell. Eze heads it back to Schlupp. Webster in ahead of Edwards. Side foots the ball high in the air. Lallana gets his chest on it.
Just on his heels there, Edwards. He's got to do better for Palace at the moment. They're under pressure. They need the centre forward to be alive and get hold of the ball.
Seeing quite a lot of space here on the right of Brighton. Pascal Gross is there again. Plays it back to Veltman. Comes to Gross. Rolls this pass down the line to Jakob Moda. Jeffrey Schlupp is there to try and block him off. So Moda comes back down that right-hand touchline towards the halfway line. Veltman with the first-time ball into the centre circle finds Webster. McAllister again dropping deep just to link the play. Out to Cucurella on the left-hand side. And Crystal Palace are under the cosh at the moment.
They just can't get hold of the ball, can they? He's so dominant, this start from Brighton, and it's got more and more and more so as this half is going on.
Brighton 0, Palace 0. Brighton back in action here on Tuesday night. That'll be a 5 Live commentary game. Chelsea will be the visitors. Chelsea in action tomorrow. First Premier League game of the day. Kicks off at 12:30. It's a big one actually, away at Manchester City, so we'll have updates from that one. 5 Live Sport on air at 12 o'clock. Big relegation battle is our 3 o'clock commentary. Ian Dennis and Neil Lennon. What a team for Newcastle against Watford. Burnley, Leicester off, and Tottenham Arsenal will wait and see. Arsenal have requested for that game to be postponed on Sunday. If it's not, that's your 4:30 commentary on 5 Live and BBC Sounds Sunday afternoon.
With me and John Murray.
No, Clinton Morrison, if he's listening, he'll be in touch, won't he? Yeah, here's Clinton, here's Schlupp towards Edward. Webster right behind him. Edwards kept it for Palace. Gallagher stretches, didn't need to actually because the ball was running to Elise anyway. Gallagher continues his run, gets the ball from Elise. McAllister's with him, just tries to knock him off balance. Gallagher trying to win the corner, knocks it straight behind for a goal kick to Brighton. Brighton 0, Palace 0.
Well, there's not been many times I've looked to my left-hand side so far. I mean, we're all focused on the right-hand side, which is the goal that Crystal Palace are defending, and there's been very few entries into the Brighton 18-yard box at all. They've been very controlled, but like I say, much more direct with their play. It's such a drastic shift. I think Graham Potter really has mixed it up in the past probably 3 or 4 matches. Really gone with a different tact.
Wins it for Palace inside the Brighton half, outnumbered. Brighton nearly give it back to him, but Lallana's there. Lallana to Webster. Webster looks to his left. Cucurella's in space. Elise comes jogging across. Cucurella. Ball forward to Trossard, who's drifted in and out of this game. Very deep now inside his own half. The little Belgian, another little one out there, looking for the diagonal ball, skidding across the pitch. Intercepted by Mitchell. Ball with Eze, played back to Mitchell again. Gahey across the face of his own penalty area to Joachim Andersen, and then Joel Ward's able to have a touch, look up and play a pass down the line to Elise. Elise's pass hits Trossard. Trossard's won the next ball as well, and he's away from Joel Ward. Looks up, tries to pick a man out. Cross block by Gallagher. Corner for Brighton.
Yeah, they've just got too much at the moment, Brighton. Pressing really well, very confident in how they're playing. Crystal Palace can't seem to link anything together, and are right under pressure. I'm just looking at how narrow Tariq Mitchell is on this left-back position. The amount of times that Gross or somebody is peeling out wide on the right-hand side for Brighton, and that switch of play over the top is on all day.
12 minutes to half-time. It's the voice of Matt Upson on 5 Live and BBC Sounds tonight. Brighton 0, Palace 0. McAllister's corner, vicious whip on that. Players down again inside the 6-yard box. Play continues. Ball just outside the Palace penalty area. Pascal Gross wants a return pass from Webster. Cross deflected. Control at the near post. Trossard back to Veltman. Drove it hard. Couple of deflections. Might fall for Moda. Couldn't get over the shot and knocks it over the crossbar.
He just wouldn't come down for Moda. Not enough time to wait for the ball. He had to take it a little bit earlier, and as you mentioned, Ali, it was always just going to be rising once he had the strike. It was a great corner in. Brighton really causing a few troubles, very physical in the box. Palace can't clean their lines.
Tell you what, Matt, checking possible penalty for a foul. Let's have a look here in the penalty area. Will Hughes went down. I said there were bodies that went down. Will Hughes went down for Palace. Let's just see who he was with for Brighton. Having a look on our monitors at the moment. But like the fans, we're also looking at the big screens, which are just telling us that VAR, Stuart Atwell, is looking at a possible penalty shout.
Well, I've only seen one replay on the screen below us, but there was certainly a real melee, a lot of bodies on the floor, a lot of contact in the box.
Referee's coming to have a look at the monitor, blows his whistle, draws the rectangle in the air. Stuart Atwell has decided there's enough in this that he wants Rob Jones to come and make his own decision. Now, quite often, more often than not, when this happens, he'll give a penalty.
I was going to say, statistically, what does this mean, Ali? What are the chances?
Right, it's Will Hughes with an arm round Joel Veltman. He's got an arm round his neck.
He has, and I think the trouble for Will Hughes is he's got two hands on Veltman. So you can have one arm around someone, but he's got two hands around his midriff, and Veltman goes down. He ends up getting him kind of in a
penalty for the home team. Rob Jones doesn't want to hear it from the Palace players. They're chasing him back into the penalty area. He had 3 or 4 looks at that. You could see him continue his conversation with Stuart Atwell, but Will Hughes has been clumsy with his hands there. There is always a bit of jostling and wrestling and shoving inside the box. They don't always get punished. That was taking a risk from Will Hughes, Matt.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Patrick Vieira is livid. He is going at the fourth official big time. He's really not happy. He's voicing his opinion loudly, but from Will Hughes' situation, you cannot mark somebody like that. You have to get your body shape in a different way. You know, maybe block someone, obstruct somebody, that's fine, but you have to do it with good footwork and moving your feet and getting your body in the right position, and Will Hughes, he just got the wrong side of Veltman.
Patrick Vieira is going absolutely ballistic. I was at West Ham on Wednesday night when Tim Krul did exactly that to Nikola Vlasic, grabbed him around the neck, threw him to the floor, no penalty. Tonight, penalty.
I heard you talk about that. It was unbelievable, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
It wasn't a penalty.
It was kind of more off the ball than that, but it was waiting for a corner to come in. Delay. A flare has been thrown by the Palace fans, actually quite close to Jack Butland. So in danger of risking his safety there. He's very calmly chucked it away, and he's ready now. Pascal Gross to take the penalty for Brighton with his right foot. Butland saved. Poor penalty, straight down the middle, and Butland went to his left but kept his legs in the centre of the goal, and Brighton now complaining about something leading up to the taking of the penalty, and possibly that it should be retaken. Rob Jones is having to reassert control. The flare is still smoking wildly behind the goal. At the moment it's still Brighton 0, Palace 0. Butland with the penalty save.
Is the complaint about the flare? Is that the problem? I mean, first and foremost, it's a shocking penalty.
Yeah,
no doubt. I mean, what an awful penalty. It's not even straight. I think he's tried to go down the middle, but it's not even to the middle. It's slightly to the left. Yeah. It's an easy height. It's just a bad penalty.
7 minutes left in the first half. Smoke still billowing away. Red smoke to the right. Pascal Gross with the corner. Good delivery. Dan Burn with the header. Now was Butland caught by Mopé. Mopé's bundled the ball home. Referee Rob Jones has given the goal, and Crystal Palace are complaining again. There's a fan on the pitch as well who's come running into the penalty area. He's not getting involved with the players. He's celebrating with the Crystal Palace fans. But Palace are complaining that Mopé fouled Butland as he went to get on the end of that ball. It was Burns' header. Butland saved it, and then the ball went loose. Mopé sticks a foot in. At the moment the goal stands, again we'll have to wait and see.
I mean, this is definitely a wait and see.
Possible.
I have a feeling this is going to be overturned, because I think Butland had two hands secured on the ball. Looking at the replay, it's very tight.
Yeah, it's a freeze frame job to Stuart
hands on the ball, I think. momentum of Butland as he catches the ball, takes it onto Mopé's knee, who's following the ball in like every good striker should do in that area, and Mopé kind of knees it out of his hands almost.
Here he comes again. Whistle blows, he's over to the monitor to have a look. Patrick Vieira throws his arms up and says, what on earth is going on? He desperately wants this decision to go his way. He didn't think there should have been a penalty. Neil Mopé has come across to have a chat with the fourth official and a member of the Palace coaching team. I told you he likes to get involved.
Yeah, he's not shy in getting involved.
My other question would be, the ball eventually comes off Mopé's hip, but his foot is actually quite high as he goes to challenge Butland.
Yeah.
But I know you're making the point, Matt. Oh, he's having a look. No goal.
There's two hands on the ball.
That's the point.
That is the rule. Unless that's changed, the goalkeeper has two hands on the ball, it's secure, and you're not allowed to kick it out of the goalkeeper's hands. He hasn't kicked it out of his hands, don't get me wrong, he hasn't held it and then Mopé swung a leg and kicked it. It's all happened in one motion, but if you freeze frame it, you can see that Butland has two hands on the ball, a fraction before Mopé's knee comes in and takes it out.
There was an incident, I was there at Leicester this season, I can't remember who it was against, and Kasper Schmeichel had one hand on the ball on the ground for a fraction of a second, and that is deemed as having the ball under control as well. That was actually two hands on the ball, having made the save. And obviously, if Mopé doesn't come in and knock Butland, it doesn't end up in the back of the net.
No, of course. So he just gathers the ball up and is comfortable.
Well, what a few minutes here on 5 Live and BBC Sounds. Penalty given against Will Hughes for the foul on both hands before Mopé bumped him.
You're getting a nice smell off that flare again now. That kind of very fireworky smell going round the stadium, but Brighton do not want this half to end. I mean, we're on 41 minutes, but they just want to keep on playing. They're right on the front foot at the moment, Brighton.
I forgot the fan on the pitch as well, just to add into
that was relatively entertaining, wasn't it, in terms of he ran across the whole face of the Crystal Palace end celebrating and then jumped straight into the Brighton end to run away.
It's one of those, isn't it, man, where you never want to see that because you worry what they're going to do. Actually, it was harmless in the end, but they dealt with it quickly. Half-time on the way. We'll be back with Darren Fletcher. As Darren said, we'll have a build-up to the second day's play of the final test in the Ashes in Hobart. Test match special on air at 3:15 in the morning. Early hours, Australia resuming their first innings on 241 for 6. England did have them 12 for 3. Travis Head made 101. Australia will resume on 241 for 6, so if you're a night owl, test match special on air at 3:15. First ball bowled at 3:30, all being well with the weather. Offside flag up against Brighton. They've been on top. 2.5 minutes plus added time remaining. Palace were about to take a free kick. Mopé thought they'd taken it. He's making a nuisance of himself again. It looked like he was going to come and tread on the toes of Joachim Andersen.
I mean, has this got that kind of feel about it of a team that's been so dominant in the first half, haven't capitalised on that, and then Crystal Palace go in at half-time and start. I mean, they've had no foothold in this game at all.
It was the story, Matt, of the game between these two at the Amex last season, and it was the story of the game between these two at Selhurst Park this season. This season, it was Palace in control at home, and they got done by a late equaliser. Eze booked for a foul on Mopé. Mopé in the thick of it again. 2 minutes remaining.
You know exactly what he's doing there, Mopé. He runs across Eze and basically steps into it. It's not a yellow card.
Do you think you'd enjoy marking Mopé?
I think he's one of those players that is an antagonist. He is, isn't he? To be polite.
Yeah, he is.
That's how he plays. You either just ignore him, pretend he's not there, or you get involved. And I think it's.
What would you do, man?
Let your football do the talking.
Okay.
Keep a cool head. I think he wants to draw you into that, doesn't he? Wants to get the red mist in defenders' eyes and unsettle them. That's his tact.
Free kick Brighton midway inside the Palace half, wide on the right hand side. Pascal Gross, who saw his penalty saved by Jack Butland, takes this with his right foot, edge of the box. Burns goes for the header, might run to Mopé again. Lallana dummies a shot, tried to flick it to Veltman. Will Hughes is there. Hughes beyond McAllister, plays it to Elise, who's got a lot to do. Edwards making good ground in the middle for Palace though. Then Elise trips the ball with his left foot. Eze controls it wide on the left. In the same movement, finds Mitchell speeding forward on the left. Ball played back to the edge of the box. Schlupp lays it off to Will Hughes. Hughes across to Ward. And Brighton there in a defensive wall. just to keep Palace where they want them. Elise's crossing, it nearly found Eze. Another great ball.
His crossing is a joke. How the quality and accuracy, he just puts it in killer areas. He really does. And how relaxed was his face? He didn't even shift it. He barely did anything to get that half a yard. He's so smooth, puts it to one side, and just the area that he hits with his cross and the dip is so threatening.
Highly entertaining, 0-0. Brighton 0, Palace 0. Palace with a late bit of pressure here in the first half. Hughes to Mitchell. Mitchell infield to Eze, lines up the shot, drags it low, Lallana blocks it, Moda controls it on his thigh, Hughes in with a crunching challenge, took the ball, it runs to McAllister, 3 minutes of added time, at the end of a very eventful first half. McAllister just bumped by Hughes in the back, but got his pass away to Dan Burn behind him, Webster, wide to Trossard, not seen much of Trossard wide on the right in the first half, but here he is.
Good game, isn't it?
Really enjoying it.
Really entertaining game.
Yeah. Ball chipped to the... I wondered if that was just the company, but I think it's the football as well, Matt, tonight. Veltman with his right foot. Ball over the top. Schlupp has got to deal with this, trying to let it run out of play. It's got enough on it and it goes behind for the goal kick. And Trossard's actually unhappy with the ball forward, so he turns and has a little grumble about that. And I've not stitched you up in the first half either, Matt, because I heard you on Wednesday night with John Murray asking you to wax lyrical about Antonio Rudiger, and you were just getting into your spiel about him being one of the best 5 defenders in the world, and then what did he do?
Well, went to ground, practically gave a penalty away just outside. It was literally half an inch outside the box and got away with it. But yeah, it was one of those commentators' curse moments.
I've never heard a better one than that. For a long time.
It got teed up brilliantly.
Oh, it was a classic. It was an absolute classic. And actually, if you want to listen to that, sorry Matt, you can do that now on the BBC Sounds app. You can actually go back to Wednesday's.
Let's leave it.
And go and find it. We've got a minute and a half left of added time. End of the first half. Brighton 0, Palace 0. Dan Burn, long legs, taking him at speed across the Brighton half. Finds Cucurella. Cucurella slows it down, plays it back to Burn. Burn out to Cucurella again on the left. Elise's in his way, so Cucurella just curls a pass beyond him. Wants the return from McAllister, gets that. Back to McAllister, comes towards him. Little 1-2. Brighton happy to keep it at the end of the first half, and Patrick Vieira just wants his team in at half-time at 0-0. Could so easily have been behind. Butland with the save from Trossard early in the game, the penalty save from Pascal Gross, and the save from Dan Burn's header that was knocked out of his hands by Neil Maupay illegally and ended up in the back of the net. Trossard, edge of the box, onto his right foot, curling shot, too much on it, over the bar, goal kick for Palace.
I can understand why he's had a pot. Trossard, he manoeuvres the ball really well, he drifts across a little bit further to that left hand side, he just comes inside on his right foot, the ball's sitting up a little bit, it's a long way out, but he has a go at goal. But again, Brighton switching the play. Webster with a long pass, I think it was to Cucurella all the way to the left back, who's quite advanced, and they've done that really well in this game. I don't think Crystal Palace were expecting it, to be honest. The amount of switch of play and the way they've stretched them in behind the fullbacks has really asked the question.
Jack Butland's been one of the main men for Crystal Palace, clears the ball with his right foot, Edouard controls it. That is the end of proceedings. A very entertaining first 48 minutes of the game. Brighton Matt-ups will definitely feel that they should be in front, and that was a woeful penalty really from Pascal Gross.
Awful. I mean, it's the only real negative point of the first half for Brighton, who have been bright, really asked the question, pushed the game to Crystal Palace, and fully deserved to have something from it. They'll be really disappointed, or shall I say concerned, that they haven't made that advantage count.
Good atmosphere, good game, no goals as yet on 5 Live and BBC Sounds. Brighton 0, Crystal Palace 0. You're right, absolutely right. It was a very enjoyable first half. The only thing Matt Upson it lacked was goals, and games are always improved with goals, but actually there was more than enough in that first half. And I think both of these teams, I mean, Brighton have obviously had the better of that first half. They're just both a really good watch this season, aren't they?
They are, definitely, and I think Brighton have changed. They've been more direct. They're not as obsessed with the possession, which has been a big part of their play of late. And Crystal Palace, I think you've just got to look at the lineup. I mean, Patrick Vieira really has, and it hasn't been easy what he's done, because it's quite a big shift, but he's done it relatively gradually over the games. He's grown and grown and grown, and he really had to inject something a little bit different in this group of players, and they're certainly got the capability of being quite entertaining, Crystal Palace.
Well, we're going to get an even closer look at Michael Olise, the 20-year-old, in the second half, because he's going to start wide on the right-hand side with Palace playing from left to right.
Well, he'll be over the other side in 2 minutes,
and then he'll be back again a couple of minutes after that. No changes made by either manager at half-time. Brighton 0, Palace 0, on air on 5 Live Sport and BBC Sounds with this one through until 10 o'clock tonight. But don't forget that cricket, second day of the final test, underway on air with the Test Match special team on 5 Live Sports Extra at 3:15 in the morning. Heard a bit from the team at half-time. If you want more of that Test Match special podcast, always well worth a listen, rounding up the first day's play in case you missed any of that. So Brighton's team, Robert Sanchez in goal, hasn't been particularly busy. Veltman, Webster, Byrne and Cucurella, with Tarek Lamptey starting on the bench this evening. Lallana, Moda and Pascal Gross, who missed that first half penalty saved by Jack Butland, and Alexis McAllister, as Matt Upson was saying first half, wearing 10 and sort of playing number 10, floating around behind Leandro Trossard and Neil Maupay, who had the ball in the back of the net in that first half as well, but ruled out for his challenge on Jack Butland. Butland had the ball in both hands before Maupay made contact. Trossard has it for Brighton wide on the left. 2 Palace players behind him, one of them Olise, the other one Joel Ward. Ward just crashes the ball out for a throw into Palace. They've got Butland in goal, back four of Ward, Anderson, Gahey and Mitchell, Will Hughes, Conor Gallagher, Jeffrey Schlupp, midfield 3, Olise and Eze continually switching flanks, Odson Edouard through the middle. Maupay's ball falls to Trossard, shanks it badly with his right foot, and the ball goes spinning away to the right, and Veltman has a job to do to keep it in play. Nice ball though, crossing to the near post, Moda! Oh, he's clipped the bar. Great run from Jakob Moda, who's yet to score for Brighton in the Premier League. Made beautiful contact with the instep, and it's just grazed the crossbar and gone away.
Massive credit to Joel Veltman as well, because the strike from Lallana was skewed wide, but he kept the ball in play and slipped a lovely pass down the line, crossed into the box, and it's a good run from Moda. It's Gross that fires the ball across. Moda is in the bang in the right area, just in that near post on the 6-yard box line, gets good contact but just slightly too high and skims the crossbar.
Olise gliding forward, back heel to Conor Gallagher, bit of space for him on the right hand side, low bouncing cross, Edouard tried to get a touch at the near post, great bit of defending by Adam Webster, who stayed with him, who just made sure he couldn't get a clean contact to try and divert that into the back of the net. Lively start to the second half.
I'm not sure if that was a save from Sanchez. I'll have a look on the replay, but his contact, it hit Sanchez. He's actually doesn't know too much about it. He's in the right place at the right time, but it's a great ball from Gallagher. Edouard sliding in with Webster. There's contact, I think it is from Edouard, and maybe off a little bit of Webster too, and an outstretched leg from Sanchez just stops the ball from going in the back of the net.
Well, there's the threat from Crystal Palace. Didn't see too much of it in the first half. They've come close in the second half. By the way, that cup of tea is very good, Matt. When you get a chance, I'll let you have a slurp, and I'll keep talking for a bit.
What are you going to say? It was hot then, molten lava.
It's quite hot, but it's just perfect temperature. I get in there.
It's just cooled off enough.
Well, I've taken the lid off mine. You see, you're still going through that little slot in the plastic. I don't like drinking through those. I need a bigger
really
circumference.
You always take the lid off. Never. Do you not find it just spills everywhere?
Well, how do you dunk your biscuit in that?
True. Chocolate bars, biscuits, beef pie before the game.
10k run yesterday.
You eat quite a lot for a little fella, don't you?
Brighton 0, Palace 0. 3.5 minutes gone in the second half. Newcastle Watford, our 3 o'clock commentary tomorrow afternoon. Liverpool Brentford, our 2 o'clock commentary on Sunday, and hopefully maybe Tottenham Arsenal North London derby at 4:30 on Sunday afternoon, but that is yet to be decided after Arsenal's request to the Premier League to have that game postponed. Brighton are in the blue and white vertical stripes. They're playing from right to left in this second half, with the Palace fans behind the goal that Brighton are defending away to our right. Here's Trossard, forward to Maupay. Maupay plays the ball back to McAllister, forward to Moda. That's over the crossbar. Again, just wouldn't come down for him. Running into the penalty area, delayed, Actually, Butland gets a touch on it. It goes behind for a corner. Chances at either end in the second half so far.
Really good run from midfield again from Moda. He's onside, times it perfectly. You're right, it does take a bit of time to get down, but I don't know, he's got to try and find a finish. He tries to poke it through, but Butland does come out and make it difficult for him.
4.5 minutes gone, second half. McAllister with the corner. Butland stretches, punches away, volleyed by Pascal Gross with his right foot. Difficult skill that one, and hits it well wide of the target. Behind for a goal kick. Brighton 0, Palace 0.
I mean, this is the most purpose I've seen Brighton play in a long, long time. It really is. I think they've been excellent in this game so far. Real intensity, pressing the ball, good running off the ball. Just look at that replay again. It's a really good save actually from Butland, who a couple of times has come out well and stayed big.
Yeah, that's probably going in actually.
It's a good save.
Yeah.
It's a good save. It has to be said. I think Moda gets enough just to try and prod the ball past him, but the Palace goalkeeper again comes to the rescue.
Third Premier League start of the season for him. Played in the 2-2 at home against Southampton. The 3-0 defeat at Tottenham the day Wilfried Zaha was sent off, and this, the third Premier League start of the season with Whiter on the bench this evening. And as Matt Upson was just saying, he's made some big saves, not least from the penalty as well. Joel Ward out wide to Elise. Elise dances onto his left foot, turns Cucurella, decides to try and beat him again, then plays the ball back to Will Hughes, 30 yards from goal. Hughes delicately floats the pass out to Mitchell on the left. Mitchell finds Eze. Eze is forced away from the Brighton penalty area, back to Schlupp, to Gahey. Brighton fans finding their voices early in the second half here at the Amex. Elise to Ward. Ward plays it just across the Brighton half to Will Hughes. Hughes to Gahey. Gahey wide to Mitchell. Mitchell looking for the run of Schlupp. Schlupp under a little bit of pressure, trying to keep this ball. Moda's there. So is Gross, but Palace still have it. And good interception from Lallana. Read that well, releases Mopé. Mopé has support from Trossard on the left, Lallana on the right. Mopé brings it up to just outside the Palace penalty area, gives it to Trossard, little step over, onto his left foot, driven cross, blocked by Ward, and then Elise is caught by Trossard. Free kick, Crystal Palace. Here's Matt Upson.
Well played, Joel Ward. Really good defending, good steady body shape, didn't dive in. Trossard with all the lollipops and step overs, trying to trick him. Comes onto his left foot, but Ward really stays strong, gets a good block in, doesn't allow the ball to get whipped across the face of the goal, where there was several Brighton players trying to join the attack. But another really good piece of high energy play. We've seen a lot of that from Brighton in this game.
Very open in the second half, because here come Palace now. Eze just the halfway line, plays it back to Hughes. Hughes sees Schlupp in a nice little pocket of space in the inside left channel for Palace. Mitchell forward in the attack from left back, gives it to Eze. Eze striding forward on the dribble, moves beautifully. Ball stumbles over on the edge of the box. Palace fans go up for it, as of course they would. Referee Rob Jones had a good stare at it, decided there was nothing in it.
It sounded like you thought that was a bit of a pen. How did you feel that?
I don't know, it's just
a hint of a penalty.
The way he stumbled, I just wondered whether there was a
bit of contact from behind, wasn't there? Almost like a nudge or a trip.
The player didn't make too much of it, did he, Matt? No. Here he is again, Eze. Might have another go. 25 yards out. That's not great. Right-footed shot. Very nearly clears the entire section of Palace fans behind that goal.
With his right foot, couple of step overs, like you say, leaning back. The ball was skied up into the back, exactly where the Crystal Palace fans are sat. I don't think they're giving the ball back. I think that's staying in there.
By the way, you're having a go at me for pies and biscuits. You were the one mentioning lollipops there. That wasn't me, that was you.
Well, not that kind of lollipop.
No, I know. 8 minutes gone, second half.
Right. You have to refer it back to food though, don't you?
I'm always trying. Sanchez, Brighton's bearded Spanish goalkeeper, plays across here to Byrne. Byrne to Webster. They just exchange passes. Palace might be thinking about a change early in the second half. Just watching a bit of action on their bench. Webster plays a ball, floated pass down the right. Moda can't get there, so it goes out for a throw into Crystal Palace in the left back position. So I think it is going to be an early change. And Lallana's down. Yeah, well spotted now.
It's always a worry when you see Adam Lallana go down almost out of nothing. He's been important in this game. He's been very good. He's really adopted a different role for Brighton as the seasons go by. He's very much more of a holding player.
16th Premier League start this season. They've managed to get more football out of him this season than last season so far. And they've managed him, as they do with Lamptey actually, Matt. They manage him, or they're trying to bring him back.
They've had to.
They've had to
because I think his injury was pretty severe. He had a terrible hamstring.
I'll tell you what. Here he is, Lamptey. That's getting one of the biggest roars of the evening because he's stripped off and ready to go. And what he's done is he's gone sprinting down the touchline in front of... Well, I'm not even sprinting. That's actually half-paced, that. But he is quick, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's rapid.
The hamstring looks all right now.
It looks absolutely fine. So, Brighton fans looking forward to seeing Tariq Lamptey in action. Lallana on his feet. Is that going to be it for him? He's turned and sort of applauded the rest of his teammates, so I think it will, won't it?
It will be that for him, and it'll be a switch. I mean, I think looking at it, you've got Gross that might be able just to sit a little bit deeper, whether or not Trossard or McAllister, or he might just play right of that midfield three. He's been very versatile lately. I mean, Graham Potter's played him really high, hasn't he? As like a right winger in a couple of games.
Just trying to do a bit of lip reading there on Adam Lallana. He's made the call along with the medical tip. No point in taking a risk.
No.
If there's a danger.
He's experienced enough now to know his body, to know when he can continue with a knock or whether he needs to come off, and he's made exactly the right call.
Did you just say, Matt, go to a 3? Does Veltman go right-sided centre back now, do you think, or just Lamptey goes up?
I don't think he'll go to a 3. I think he'll keep it. I mean, they've been so much in control in this game and playing really well. It surprised me if he changed the shape. I think that Gross will just drop central.
Okay.
And maybe McAllister might drop into the middle of the park and Lamptey higher. I don't know.
Okay.
We'll have to wait and see. Lamptey looks to have adopted the higher position on the right-hand side, doesn't he?
Yeah.
With Gross sat in front of the back four, and McAllister in the midfield now with Moda.
Brighton 0, Palace 0. Good saves at either end early in this second half. Dreadful ball out of defence from Adam Webster. Elise is onto it. Elise's running at Dan Burn. Tries to knock the pass through his legs. Gallagher was making the run. Burn managed to block it just in time. Joel Ward plays it back to Joachim Andersen. Andersen forward to Ward. Tries to find Elise. Burn is there. Dummies the clearance. Lets the ball run out of play for a throw into Brighton on the left-hand side inside their own half. Burn was about to take it. Decided against it.
I mean, would that indicate that they are sticking with the back four if Burn's not taking that? It's hard to tell once they're going, because Lamptey's dropped a bit narrower. Veltman's tucked quite a long way in. He could potentially be playing right side of a 3 with Veltman, Webster and Burn. We'll have to wait and see. It's hard to tell when the game's so kind of bunched over one side of the pitch.
Throwing Palace midway inside the Brighton half on the right-hand side, pretty much under the nose of their boss Patrick Vieira. Gallagher volleys it to Elise, who volleys it on towards Edouard, and Cucurella just knocks it out of play. Couldn't do much more with it, out for a throw. Brighton ball boy rolls it to Joel Ward's feet rather than throws it to his hands. Brighton fans enjoyed that. Trossard infield here to Moda, trying to get past the challenge of Slook. Did it now, Trossard again, and Trossard's ball forward blocked by Joel Ward with his chest. He makes the point, not his arms.
He was looking for the diagonal there though, Trossard. He saw Mope just try and get that run off the back of Guehi, and again look to exploit that space in behind by chipping a little diagonal ball in behind the Palace back four.
13 minutes gone, second half. 5 Live and BBC Sounds live at the Amex Stadium. Another big weekend of Premier League football for you. Lamptey, first touch of the evening for him, under pressure, plays it back to Moda. Now Webster bouncing across the halfway line. Mope almost caught from behind by Guehi, but play continues. Rob Jones saw it. Now Lamptey gets going down the right, turns, plays it back to McAllister, looks to use the speed of Lamptey again, well covered by Eze, who just shepherds the ball out of play.
I like what Eze did there, really good. The moment Lamptey laid that ball inside, there's only one place he's going to hurt you, and the instant reaction with Eze was just to get your head down, pump that first 2 or 3 strides. I don't think he even looked to see if Lamptey had gone. He just knew that was a dangerous space. It was really good defended.
Edouard battling with Webster. I wonder if we'll see Benteke at some point this evening as well. He scored that late winner here last season.
It is Brighton with the back three, though. You were right.
Okay.
They've sat in with a back three with Cucurella at wing back and Lamptey on the right side at wing back.
Here's Webster. So Veltman now in that right-sided centre-back position, receives the ball just outside his penalty area, plays it back across to Webster. Edouard's doing the chasing for Palace. Palace and he's Hughes in late. Poor challenge on McAllister. He's down hurt. Play continues. That will surely be a booking for Will Hughes. Advantage played by Rob Jones. Moda to Lamptey. Lamptey twisting and turning, trying to get away from Mitchell, who's desperately scrambling to keep up with him. Lamptey pokes the ball back to Gross. Gross will be desperate also to make amends for the penalty miss in the first half. Trossard trying to play it through to Moda, who's going to run out of room, and the ball gets away from him and goes behind for a goal kick, and Will Hughes does indeed receive a yellow card.
Will Hughes is looking like he's astonished. I mean, the yellow cards come out. It's the clearest yellow card you're going to see in the game, really. It's just so late. He clatters in to the back of in the tackle. I think it was McAllister who laid off. And the referee got the yellow card and he just looked like he started having a go at him, as if to say, what are you talking about?
Ward with his right foot clears for Palace. Slight miscue from Gross. Gallagher wins it, then he loses it. McAllister back into the battle for Brighton. Here's Gross with his right foot. Cross to Veltman. Veltman just inside the Palace half. As I say, Palace in these bright yellow shirts, but as ever with the Palace kits as well, the away kits, they've got a bit of blue and red, like a sash down the left-hand side. Ball out to Lamptey. Great pace on it, great control from Lamptey. Tries to go on the outside and beat Mitchell. Mitchell sticks with him. Lamptey tries to turn away from him. Mitchell fouls him. They're trying to get Lamptey into the game early on as much as they can.
There's an instant problem for Crystal Palace. I mean, the low centre of gravity and the ability to twist and turn, very, very difficult to deal with. And Mitchell is going to have to be on his game for this, the remaining half hour of this game. They're going to feed those balls out to Lamptey at any given opportunity.
I know there's going to be a fair few fantasy football managers who'll be very pleased to see Tarek Lamptey on the field. One of my main rivals, Statman Dave, has him in his team. So when I saw him on the bench this evening, I was rubbing my hands together. I'm less pleased now, having seen the first few minutes of Lamptey in action for Brighton. He's won this free kick. He won't take it. Cucurella will take it. It'll be an in-swinger from the right, bouncing ball into the near post, and Mitchell tries to clear it on half volley, slices it behind for a corner.
They've been good on corners in this game so far, Brighton. Look very threatening, good deliveries, and they've got players that are really attacking it. There's a real purpose to their set pieces.
Corner then for Brighton. Will come in from the right-hand side. Just under half an hour to play in the game. Still Brighton 0, Palace 0. In it comes, an away swinger. Webster's up well. Ball glances off his forehead, runs across the byline. Mopé's able to keep it in play. McAllister behind him down that left-hand touchline. Mopé wins the throw in. Elise in with the challenge.
Yeah, again, Brighton win that first contact from the corner and looked threatening. Okay, there wasn't much of a contact as Webster was hanging in the air and he just couldn't get enough on the ball to head it goalwards, but they certainly looked threatening, like they're going to win that first ball.
Cucurella with the throw. Back to Dan Burn, slightly miscued pass which sends Webster back the way. Robert Sanchez in the middle of his own half here, but Palace don't really have any players in the Brighton half at the moment, and so Webster is able to calmly play the ball forward into midfield to the German Gross. Now Webster just delays on the pass. Low one to his left to Dan Burn. Burn to Cucurella. Cucurella's flip. Burn kept his run going. Gallagher intercepts for Crystal Palace. Cleared down the right. Elise will chase. Gets there ahead of McAllister. McAllister fouled him, surely. No, says referee Rob Jones. Patrick Vieira doesn't agree. McAllister looks for a ball with a bit of disguise on it through the middle. Moda couldn't control it. Gallagher under pressure plays it back to Ward. Ward gets underneath his clearance. The ball goes spinning like a top up in the air. Bounces once inside the Brighton half. Gross heads it back to Veltman. Veltman across to Lamptey. Another change coming for Palace shortly. Webster for Brighton. Cross to Burn. Brighton 0, Palace 0. Cucurella to McAllister. Cucurella has to get those little legs moving, but does well to keep that ball in wide on the left-hand side. Then looks up and tries to go full-back to full-back, wing-back to wing-back in fact. Cucurella to Lamptey, lays it off to Gross. Gross with the cross to the far post. Volleyed or deflected. Trossard with the volley. It wasn't on target. The rebound could have gone anywhere. It's actually come back out to Dan Burn. Gets it back from Trossard. Byrne's done a bit of left wing back in his time for Brighton, so don't be unfamiliar out there, and the Brighton fans are loving it. Then he goes shoulder to shoulder with Joel Ward. Ward goes down under the challenge free kick for Crystal Palace. Matt Upson.
It was lovely shape on that strike from Trossard. It was a really difficult skill to execute. The ball gets clipped to the far post. It just goes over the head of a defender, and with his left foot on the volley, it's a lovely sidewards action from Trossard. I think it's Anderson just gets a thigh in there. Well, it was heading goalward bound, maybe not quite on target.
Bit of swaz?
Yeah, there was a bit of swaz on the ball. Could have just ended up in that far post. It was a lovely strike from Trossard.
Double change for Palace, in fact. Milivojevic and Mateta on for Ebere Eze and Jeffrey Schlupp.
Well, I would think that Eze maybe starting the game was only planned to play around an hour just over, and you can see that Edouard, he just hasn't had a kick in this game really, to be honest.
Edouard off, not Schlupp. Edouard replaced by Mateta, which makes a lot more sense. He goes through the middle.
He's not had much of the game, Edouard. He's not been able to really get hold of the ball, and I think Mateta's come on just to freshen it up.
So Mateta could be called into the action here. Ball doesn't reach him. McAllister heads it away. Joachim Anderson clears with his right foot, and that goes straight out of play for a throw-in to Brighton inside their own half. 25 minutes to play. Brighton 0, Palace 0. As I said in the first half, Palace have had the better of this in the last couple of seasons. This will be, Brighton having dominated the first half, having not beaten Palace, the big rivals in their last 5 games. Be a big one for them. Not only that, just keeps them moving up that table as well in the top half. Webster plays back to Robert Sanchez. Just a slight pause in the game here as Brighton knock it around. Then Mateta comes towards Webster, who plays it to Gross in the Brighton midfield, who's sitting that little bit deeper now with Lallana off. Veltman across to Webster.
They've definitely got a feel about them in this second half, Palace, that we're not going to get beat here. I think they've come out with that mindset. They might not be in the best moment in this game. I think you can accept that sometimes, that you're being outplayed or outperformed, but you certainly don't get beat. And I think that is how they're approaching this. Yes, they're capable of scoring. They've got creative players, they've got players that can score goals, so anything can happen, but they're certainly set about it to be secure at the back.
Lamptey might have just put a bit too much on that. Moda will chase it. Gahey will try and let that run and go behind for a goal kick, and it does. Brighton fans saw that Gahey had a touch on the ball. Might have been behind the byline. May have been that Moda actually fouled him when he did that. Anyway, goal kick for Crystal Palace. Their away record this season in the Premier League, just the one win, not a bad one though. 2-0 away at Manchester City. 3 draws and 5 defeats. Elise can't keep that ball in play, but actually the point you make then, that's an important one, because the last 3 away games they've lost without scoring. Against Leeds, Manchester United and Tottenham, so just coming away with something.
How can you be in January and have one away win, and that's at Manchester City?
2-0 at City.
Bizarre, isn't it?
Yeah. Brighton can't keep the ball in play. Manchester City-Chelsea should be good. Updates on that one tomorrow. Kicks off at 12:30. 5 Live Sport on air at midday. 3 o'clock commentary with all the goals as they go in. Usual service from Ian Dennis. Neil Lennon will be alongside him. Big game. Newcastle against Watford. Moda's taken a knock on the back of the head in a challenge with Milivojevic. Pass back to Anderson, back to his goalkeeper Butland. Might have put Anderson under a bit of pressure here. Mope's breathing down his neck. Back to Butland, takes a touch. Mope nearly got there. Forward to Mateta. He thought about laying it off to Will Hughes. Instead, goes further back to Gahey. Gahey comes running out of defence. Beats 1, beats 2, keeps it for Palace. And plays it to Joel Ward. Ward gets his head down and starts running hard down the right-hand touchline. Gallagher controlled that pass well. Elise feeds it infield to Ward, up towards Mateta and back to Ward. Ward's been involved in this move 3 times now. Plays it out to the left, laid off to Will Hughes. Hughes, it's Ward again. Ward's cross into the near post. Schlupp nearly got the shot away. Ball played back. Gallagher scores for Crystal Palace in front of the Crystal Palace fans. Patrick Vieira holds his arms aloft in jubilation. They've been under the cosh for a lot of this game, Crystal Palace, but they're in front. Conor Gallagher's done it again, and what a part the right back Joel Ward played in that entire move. Brighton 0, Palace 1.
Wow, what a goal It's a brilliant team goal from Crystal Palace. It really is. It's stunned the fans here at the Amex. All the Brighton fans are just completely silenced. It's totally against the run of play and the dominance that Brighton have had in this game. But what a team goal. You mentioned Joel Ward there. The passage of play leading up to this. In my mind I was thinking, if this ends up in a goal, it's going to be some goal. It really is. The interchange of play, so many players involved. Elise, Mateta, Joel Ward, Gallagher. It was just a great team goal.
So Crystal Palace leading by a goal to nil, which means we're going to get more of that fireworks smoke in our noses quite soon. There's also a little bit of a disturbance behind us in the stand, in our stand, away to our right-hand side. And I just wondered, judging by the reactions of the Brighton fans, whether there are a couple of Palace supporters who have not been able to control themselves, who are in the wrong area.
It's all gone very quiet here, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has. It has gone quiet from the home fans, and it looks like at least one person's being led away. We've had red smoke and blue smoke. We've got both now behind the goal. Oh wait, what a goal!
But I mean, just to describe it a little bit more, in the sense that Joel Wall has the ball at right back. He goes down the line, but he continues his run. He gets fed into Mateta, who offers himself as a centre forward. He sets it back. It gets played wide. Then you've got midfield runners. They get into the box. The ball gets set back. I don't know who sets it back. It might be Mateta again. And there's Gallagher to finish it.
Slurp into the penalty area. Low cross. All beats Sanchez at the near post, right across the face of goal. Elise couldn't get on the end of it. Cucurella brings it away for Brighton. Up the line to Leandro Trossard. Brighton have got 20 minutes to try and do something about it. Beaten at home here last season by their great rivals. Beaten at home here a couple of seasons ago as well. They've had the best of this game, certainly in the first half, missed the penalty, had the goal disallowed. Now they find themselves behind. Double change coming. Solly March and Danny Welbeck are going to be thrown into the action.
I said in the first half, when you don't capitalise on all that pressure and possession, it just leaves you so vulnerable to that kind of sucker punch, and it's happened in this game.
Trossard looking for McAllister. Referee actually just got in McAllister's way. Had he not been there, he might have been able to line up a shot from the edge of the box. On the right is Gross. Gross is crossing to the penalty area. Modemer's going to jump. McAllister on the volley. Takes a spinning high deflection. Butland comes to collect it. Leaps over Trossard and grabs the ball gratefully with both arms. So double change coming for Brighton into the last 20 minutes of the game. Brighton 0, Palace 1. If Palace win the game, they go to 26 points. They will be just 1 point behind Brighton. Conor Gallagher, on loan from Chelsea, a 7th goal of the season.
I mean, he's just had a phenomenal season, hasn't he? I mean, you talk about, being named in teams of the month and Premier League performances so far. You look at the list of names in the Premier League. Conor Gallagher is right up there with the impact he's had for Crystal Palace.
Right, here comes the double change for Brighton. Pascal Gross is speeding off, takes the captain's armband off, hands it to Alexis McAllister, who passes it on to Dan Burn. Attempts to give Mark Cucurella a high five. Cucurella blanked him. I don't think he saw him coming. Didn't ignore him. Solly March on for Gross. And Danny Welbeck comes on for Joel Veltman. So we're going back to a format, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I find it strange that he went to a 3. And I know Lamptey came on and he can play wing back, but he can also play higher up or in midfield. And they were doing so well with the back 4. But it looks like Lamptey's now gone to right back with Webster and Burn centre backs and Cucurella back to the left back position.
That tea's just gone a little cold now. Have you finished yours? It's good, isn't it? Yeah, but it's just a little lukewarm, that last mouthful. Here's McAllister for Brighton. We've got to throw everything at it now to try and get back into the game. McAllister to Trossard. Cucurella wants it on the left. Trossard ducks infield instead. McAllister, first time ball into the feet of Mopé, but he's back to goal. Lays it off to Jakob Moder. Moder has Lamptey on the outside. Lamptey's cross, slight deflection. Behind it goes for a Brighton corner. You're going to hear some noise inside this stadium for the last 15-20 minutes of this game as well.
He's like a steam train, Lamptey, when he goes on those overlapping runs. It's very hard to stop, but Mitchell just gets out and chooses a good position to stand almost, just to try and block the most dangerous flight of the cross, and it just deflects off him for a corner, which have been really good for Brighton. It's another opportunity to put it in the box.
McAllister will take real push and shove between Dan Burn and Joachim Andersen. McAllister's ball, Webster's header again, gets there first but glances it across the face of goal. Mopé plays it back to March. Mopé crossing position on the left, it hits Gallagher, into the arms of Butland. It was creeping in at the near post, but Butland got there in plenty of time. Graham Potter applauds, wants more urgency, continued urgency from his team. This, if they lose it, is going to be a bitter pill to swallow.
Yeah, I mean, whoever's marking Webster, I think it's Gurhey. Webster's getting the first contact nearly every time. I mean, he's very, very good in the air. When he gets a couple of strides on you and he's got a really good spring, attacks the ball aggressively as well, he is hard to contain, but corners are a real problem for Palace.
Trossard nods it down, looking for Mopé. Anderson there for Crystal Palace, clears it away. Joel Ward with his right foot thumps it upfield. Mateta gives chase. Webster chests it down, awkward one, bounced into him, comes off his chest and goes out for a throw. And it means so much to the fans this game, but you can tell as well it means a hell of a lot to the players out there. I think we've got a really feisty 15 minutes on the way here.
Oh, definitely, for sure. Brighton are going to throw everything at it. Look at the substitutes that have come on. Graham Potter knows it's almost like a cup feel, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, like if you're going out of the cup and you just throw attacking players on, see what happens. Exactly what Graham Potter's done.
Brighton 0, Palace 1. Conor Gallagher with the goal. Really good team goal scored by Crystal Palace. Brighton have won a throw in the left back position. On air through until 10 o'clock on 5 Live and BBC Sounds this evening with the football. And then back tomorrow, 5 Live Sport on air at midday. In terms of our NFL coverage this weekend, by the way, which has been a real feature of Sunday night's wildcard weekend begins, and our Sunday match 49ers at the Cowboys, 9:30. Coverage starts 9 o'clock on Sunday night, 5 Live Sports Extra. My team, the Las Vegas Raiders, at the Bengals, Saturday night, 9:30. Here's Dan Burn for Brighton with his left foot. Trossard trying to nudge the ball into the path of Cucurella, couldn't get there. Throwing for Palace on the right, they're in no hurry to take it.
Cucurella just dropped to be an option for Dan Burn, but when he played the ball forward, Trossard just laid it wide first time, and he was so deep, Cucurella, he couldn't get up and keep the ball in play, and Brighton have to try and make those advances. They've got to take a little bit of a risk maybe as well. Just leaves them a little bit open to a counter-attack from Crystal Palace.
Gallagher's gone down in a challenge with McAllister. Play continues. He's going to have to pick himself up. Here comes the little steam train chugging away at high speed down the right for Brighton. That's Lamptey. Lamptey plays it back to Moder. Moder infield to McAllister. McAllister out to Lamptey again on the right. Cross comes in early towards Welbeck. Flipped away by Elise. That was very clever inside his own box. Knocked it round Cucurella. Picked it up the other side. Holds on to it. Great job.
It was lovely, wasn't it? Lovely little flick over Cucurella, who was coming in, and then he rolls the ball 2 or 3 times with the studs of his feet, Elise, almost saying, come on then, try and take it off. And he turns out and finds a man. He's a smooth operator, isn't he?
He is, as Sade once sung. Matt, do you remember that?
Go on then.
No, not as singing it.
I nearly burst into song then.
13 minutes left in the game.
Good song, wasn't it?
Yeah, enjoyed a bit of Sade back in the day. Brighton 0, Palace 1. Free kick for Crystal Palace. Brighton obviously complaining that Palace are wasting time. Joachim Andersen eventually delivers with his right foot. Just territory really playing for there, because Dan Burn has to let that go behind for the goal kick, which Brighton will take. Still time, still plenty of time in this game for Brighton to find an equaliser. Benteke comes jogging back from his warm-up. Ball played across to Dan Burn, that long lumbering stride. Left-footed ball out wide to Cucurella inside the Palace half. Just delayed a little. Elise was able to block his pass. Cleared up the right by Ward. Burn daintily leaps in to volley it to McAllister. If you can do anything daintily is at Dan Burn's size. Some effort. Here's Lamptey. Lamptey up to the halfway line. Flicks it back to Webster. Graham Potter shouts an instruction across the field to his midfielders. Burn to McAllister. McAllister's first time ball wide to Cucurella. Plenty of yellow Crystal Palace shirts behind the ball defending the lead. Webster to McAllister. McAllister looks up through the middle. He goes to Welbeck, tries to turn it round the corner to Mopé. Nearly found Trossard as well. Will Hughes plays a ball out of defence. Cucurella intercepts it. Here's Trossard, 35 yards out, right-footed ball. Mopé flings a leg out, almost deflects to Solly March. March bumps Mitchell off the ball, lays it off to Lamptey. Lamptey's cut back, headed away by Will Hughes. Ball drops on the edge of the Palace area. Moda does really well to stretch and win that for Brighton, and they have to come back to the halfway line. Brighton 0, Palace 1. Dan Burn again starts to build the attack from deeper, wide to Cucurella on the left. McAllister in the middle of the Palace half, shuffling forward for Brighton. Trossard lays it off. Here's Lamptey. Lamptey slightly infield here, out wide to Solly March, who want to get back onto that left foot. Here he comes, up towards the edge of the area. Roll back to Webster. Loads and loads of Brighton possession at the moment. And it's played out by Moda as Benteke gets ready to come on for Crystal Palace. Lamptey to Trossard, to Moda, to March. Down by that byline on the right-hand side. Brighton looking to get this cross in if they can. March decides to roll it back to Lamptey. Corner of the area, cross deflected. Welbeck lays it off. Trossard couldn't control it. Still there though is Solly March. Back out to the right. Moda looks like he's overhit the cross. Cucurella heads it into Elise and behind for a Brighton corner. I think you described that as concerted pressure.
Yeah, it was. And it was a really good layoff from Welbeck actually. One touch. They eventually got the ball into the box and he just had a nice little one-touched angle pass to a runner. Just didn't land with the Brighton player, but they've got to get the ball into the box. It's all very well having that pressure, having possession outside the box, but they've got to get it in the box where it hurts.
Right, so Crystal Palace are going to make the change ahead of a defensive set piece. Elise off, Benteke on. Rob Jones sprints up to Elise and says, come on, hurry it off. By the way, I've stopped the watch, everyone. I mean, Benteke is certainly someone you want to get on. And actually, mate, you've been making the point that Brighton are winning all those headers, aren't they?
Oh, they're a real threat from set pieces. Crystal Palace haven't very rarely won the first contact on very many of the Brighton corners at all, and you just feel it's definitely a way back into the game for Brighton. So Benteke has gone into that near post area, level within near post, 6-yard box, just to head the ball out.
Here it comes. McAllister's gone beyond him. Butland goes with the punch. High ballooning clearance. Nodded back by March to Lamptey. Lamptey has to turn and go back into his own half to Robert Sanchez. Sanchez with his right foot, the Brighton keeper, spreads play out to the right-hand side. Dan Burn has just shoulder barged Will Hughes out of the way to try and let that pass get to Solly March. Hughes goes down. Free kick for Palace, and then a little bit of argy-bargy. Couple of pushes on Dan Burn, who's pretending to be interested in Will Hughes' recovery there, and the rest got to step in and sort it out.
I don't know if he's interested. He just seems to be livid with him, didn't he? Like he's thrown himself to the floor. I don't know if there was. It wasn't vicious contact, but Burn certainly stepped into the path of Hughes without intending to play the ball. So it is obstruction. He's never going to play the ball, Dan Burn, and he just steps into Hughes, and Hughes also goes into him as well.
Yeah,
it's a coming together almost, but.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Hughes was never going to get to Solly March in time, so I'm not quite sure why Dan Burn. He did it too deliberately. He wasn't subtle in it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly that. It wasn't subtle. He stepped in.
He wasn't dainty, man.
No.
He needed to be dainty.
No. It's hard when you're big.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I'm told.
You wouldn't know.
8 minutes left in the game. Only 8 minutes left. I tell you, I wouldn't mind it going a bit long. It's been good. Brighton 0, Palace 1. If you've stayed in on your Friday night, if you're out and about listening to us on BBC Sounds, hope you're enjoying it. Burn stretches a left leg to clear the ball. Palace looking to kill the game. Schlupp on the move. Lamptey with the tackle, caught by Schlupp. Throw-in goes to Crystal Palace. Lamptey quickly to his feet. Still 1-0 to Palace. Don't forget though what I said right at the start of the night. The last 3 games between these two, there has been a decisive 90th minute goal in all 3 of those games. It's never over until it's over. I was listening to Dion Dublin on Thursday night, League Cup semi-final, promised us goals in Liverpool last year. He said, I tell you, absolutely guarantee, he said, there's no way this ends 0-0.
It's a curse. The moment you say that, you know it's going to be a 0-0.
Can Brighton find an equaliser? Because it's the Palace fans you can hear singing in the Amex at the moment. It's not quite as loud as the Holmesdale Road end at Selhurst Park.
It was eerily quiet, wasn't it? When Crystal, I mean, it was actually one of the quietest reactions from a home crowd I've seen to an away goal. It was just so unexpected. I mean, they hadn't really threatened all game. They've put together a brilliant goal, brilliant team goal.
Conor Gallagher scored it. He's now been penalised for a foul on Cucurella. Brighton want to hurry things up. Time is running away from them. 6 minutes plus added time to be played Could be 6 games without defeat for Crystal Palace against their great rivals if they can hold on to this win. Lamptey curling the ball into the far post. Cucurella jumps. Good flicked back header from Joel Ward. In fact, obviously, if it's a draw, then Palace keep that unbeaten run going, but they obviously want the win. McAllister to Webster. Webster just keeps it moving to Moda. Moda back wide to Lamptey on the right-hand side. Lamptey comes jogging towards Schlupp, lays it off to March, edge of the area, right-footed ball, might fall for Welbeck, looked to swing the right-booted it, Gallagher was there to clear.
I mean, it would be a massive win for Crystal Palace, wouldn't it? You say, what, a point off Brighton?
Yeah.
And you think, you know, with the amount of change, playing staff, managerial change, you think that survival in the Premier League was a major objective at the start of the season, and you know, you really feel that Patrick Vieira has surpassed those expectations.
Yeah, no, developing nicely, Crystal Palace, very nicely. Right, Brighton fans trying to get behind their team now. 5 minutes to play. Brighton 0, Palace 1. Here's Lamptey again.
They've got to speed it up a little bit, haven't they? So they've gone a little bit slow. Crystal Palace sitting in. They've got to move the ball quicker, 1 and 2 touch, and just try and get the Palace players out of position. At the moment, they're set really well. Got Milivojevic sat in front of the back four. Gallagher and Hughes are then pressing the midfield a little bit. They keep going wide, Brighton, but the delivery isn't coming into the box.
No, terrible energy from Conor Gallagher in that latest defensive effort from Palace, chasing everything, and McAllister just took too long on the ball, and Gallagher had made a good 10-12 yards to get to him, get a foot on it, just clear it out for the throw, just break up the momentum. Still 1-0 to Crystal Palace. Trossard drives a crossfield pass to the feet of Lamptey, gives it to Solly March. March with his back to goal, wide on the right, followed out there by Gahey, plays it back to Lamptey, to Moda. Wide right to March. March works it onto that left foot, back to Moda. Cross comes into the near post. Trossard, it cleared him. Falls to Cucurella, lovely touch from Mope, angles very tight. Cross comes in, and it's ended up in the back of the net. I couldn't tell you who got the final touch. The Brighton fans don't care. It's Mope's cross that I think's been diverted in by Joachim Andersen, and Brighton, for all their possession and their effort and their chances, finally get a reward. It's not coming the 90th minute, it's coming the 87th. Brighton 1, Palace 1.
Well, it's all about this touch from Neil Maupay. It is a super touch that he's had in the box, very, very clever. He lets the ball run alongside him, and he just flicks it over the defender. He crosses it into the box, and you're right, it's Joachim Andersen, puts his right leg out. He has to try and block this ball, but unfortunately it hits him on the end of the toe. It bounces, really unfortunately, just past Butland and rolls into the near post, almost trickles over the line, but brilliant play from Neil Maupay. Really good feet and awareness. He knows the defender's coming. He just flicks it over his foot to create the space.
Right, contrast when the Palace goal went in. Just listen to that for a second.
Slightly different.
Brighton fans to a man, woman and child on their feet, directing those chants at the Crystal Palace fans who've suddenly fallen quiet.
Well, you were saying you can't leave early in this game. You're not going to leave on 85 minutes, are you?
No, not with this one.
No, and Brighton thoroughly you have to say, to come away with nothing in this game would have been a real travesty for them. They've thoroughly deserved something.
Question is now, man, I mean, with the home fans behind them, Brighton look like they're thinking, right, come on then, let's go and get that 90th minute goal that this game always has.
Yeah, why not?
How long we got left? 2 minutes plus added time. Brighton 1, Palace 1, late drama. Cucurella, Maupay's there. Maupay's brilliant skill that created the goal. An annoying one for Crystal Palace to concede, but Maupay did all he could. Put his cross into the dangerous area. Anderson got the touch, actually went through the keeper's legs in the end. Butland eventually beaten. Here's Lamptey. Lamptey plays it back to Moda. Moda down the right again to Lamptey. Infield to Solly March. March with the cross to the far post. Welbeck jumps, couldn't get there. Applauds the cross. It's gone behind for a goal kick.
Yeah, it was like an Elise style cross with the left foot, that curly in-swinger from Solly March. Really nice ball, just a fraction too high for Danny Welbeck to get any contact.
Brighton 1, Palace 1. Football Daily will be there for you later this evening, early tomorrow morning. You can make sure it's always there for you on the BBC Sounds app by subscribing to it. And tomorrow morning, whenever you listen to it, mount up mentioned Gus Poyet in conversation with Darren Fletcher ahead of this game, tackling the big issues ahead of this weekend. This has been a cracking game though. Brighton 1, Palace 1. Mateta can't quite control that pass from Benteke. Webster's there for Brighton in the left back position. Clears long to the halfway line. Anderson with the header. Now Brighton let that run through to Benteke. Benteke chases. Byrne plays it back to Sanchez. Makes sure he gets a good first touch on it. Whacks it clear with his right foot. Gahey heads it forward. Moda battling with Will Hughes for the ball. Keeps it in play. Chips it down the right. Mopé chases. Well back. All might get there. Butland there just in time. Clears with his right foot.
He's been good, Moda, tonight. He's actually really shone, lots of energy, been involved in a lot of situations. But in terms of winning the ball back and coming out of those 50-50 duels, he's done really well in the midfield for Brighton.
Just thought we were about to have a Daisy run from Tarrant Lamptey there, who set off just inside the Palace half, beat 2 and then ran out of space. Still 1-1. Palace might think they can nick it as well. Scored a brilliant team goal to get themselves in front. 4 minutes of added time at the end of this game on 5 Live and BBC Sounds. A lot of hard work, a lot of sweat, a lot of skill, a lot of invention, a lot of aggression has gone into it, and it looks like it's going to end up a point apiece. Cucurella was thinking about a little nudge in the back of the head, man.
There's 4 minutes left. Well, this is early for Neil Mopé.
That's right.
There's plenty of time.
Plenty of time. Did it to Crystal Palace back in September. Webster down the line to Lamptey. Away he goes. Gets that ball before Mitchell. Tries to go beyond Mitchell to the byline. Mitchell gets the challenge in. Corner for Brighton.
This is a big moment, and the crowd know it. You can hear them and see them on their feet behind the goal. They're going to try their best to encourage this ball goalward bound, because it's a corner from the right-hand side. Can't quite see who's taking. Is it McAllister?
Yeah.
With his right foot. Byrne and Webster especially has been lurking dangerously and been getting the better of his marker so far.
Got Welbeck in there as well. McAllister with the delivery. It's been good so far this evening. Benteke beats Webster. March drives it on the half volley, slices it. Mopé's annoyed. He thinks it might have been better to get a decent cross into the penalty area.
Yeah, I can understand that. It's a difficult chance for Solly March. He has the first touch, sits up, it's on the half volley. It's so far out, he's got to drive it. The trouble, if he's going to hit the target, he's got to drive it through a bundle of bodies. It was never going to make its way through if it was under the crossbar.
Graham Potter getting very into it as well. Just before that corner, he was giving it the old rabble-rousing, raising his arms, telling the fans to get involved. They responded. Just over 2 minutes to play. Brighton 1, Palace 1. Mateta looking to win a flick on. Byrne stretches. Trossard's there. Trossard opens play up. Solly March will get to this ball first. Big Dan Byrne's made a run forward here to the far post. Wants to cross in. March going on the outside. In it comes. Welbeck's headed just off target. Danny Welbeck holds his head in his hands. He thought he glanced in the winner.
Well, Solly March doesn't come inside onto his left foot. He goes onto the right on the outside. Gets the better of Mitchell. Whips a really good ball in. And that's not far over the crossbar. It's quite central. I think Butland would save it if he's on target. It's literally right at him. But a really good piece of play. And I love the fact, as you mentioned, that Dan Byrne continued his run from centre-back and arrived at the back post. If he'd have hit the back post, he was there.
Yeah. What have we got? We've got a minute and a half to be played. Still time. In this fixture, there's always time. Poor clearance from Butland. Welbeck chests it down. Anderson there for Palace. Shoulder to shoulder with Welbeck. Knocks the ball out for a throw into Brighton. That was unnecessary from Crystal Palace. They've given the ball away. Minute to play. Can Brighton work something? Oh, Lamptey goes quickly with it. Gives it to March. Tackled by Schlupp. Lamptey keeps it in play. Up against Will Hughes. Lamptey flicks the ball to March. March turns into the penalty area. Left-footed effort. Blocked by Mitchell. Lamptey's in. Brighton fans up for a penalty. Players down in the box. Rob Jones gives the free kick the other way.
Well, bit of a hairy moment for Crystal Palace. Patrick Vieira is going mad on the touchline at the moment. He's really not happy with his two centre forwards. He hasn't been enjoying these last couple of minutes at all. I can see by his facial expression, but he's clearly making a point to his team. He's really frustrated.
Just watching the penalty appeal there, Matt, you might get another look at it. What happens is Lamptey puts his body between Will Hughes and the ball, and then sort of moves back into Will Hughes.
Waits for the contact.
And waits for the contact. And that's not a penalty to me. I think that's the right call.
No, I agree. He's had the touch. He's used his body, and he's putting his body towards Hughes as well. So he's wanting to make the contact and then go over.
It's all over. it's a point apiece. Fabulous entertainment at the Amex Stadium between these great rivals. Brighton 1, Palace 1. Brighton certainly had the majority of possession, the better of the game. They missed a penalty in the first half and had a goal disallowed. They were caught out in the second half by a wonderful pitch-length move from Crystal Palace, finished off by Conor Gallagher, but they were rewarded for keeping going towards the end of the game. Brilliant bit of skill from Mopé, and his cross deflected into his own net by Joachim Andersen. A really, really enjoyable game of football to watch, Matt Upson.
Absolutely, excellent game, really good game. Two teams very evenly matched, although Brighton, you have to say, were by far the better team on the night. You know, their seasons have been very similar, but Brighton really did take the game to Crystal Palace. I love the way they played. They were more direct. Palace were defending for massive parts of the game, and to go 1-0 up, you know, was totally out of the blue. And I thought they were going to be able to hang on, but such was Brighton's intensity, and I have to say that the endeavour they showed in this game was brilliant. They thoroughly deserve to get something from it.
And do you credit Palace as well for hanging in there, Matt?
For sure. Yeah. I mean, both teams made a great game of it. You know, and I think Brighton have started the season so well, dipped a little bit, and they're now coming back and looking a good team. Crystal Palace have gradually got better, but all credit to Brighton for hanging in there and keep pressing and pressing and pressing.
Two sets of fans don't particularly like each other, but they certainly love their players, and it's quite a scene here at the Amex Stadium at the end of the night. Both sets of players turning to their fans, applauding them, getting applauded in return. Some very tired players dragging themselves from the field. They end up with a point apiece. Brighton moved to 28, Crystal Palace moved to 24. Palace unbeaten in 6 now against their great rivals, but couldn't hold on for the win. Brighton 1, Crystal Palace 1.